Hey everyone, it's Amanda. It's been a really long time since I have video blogged. Um, as you can see, things are not going so great. My past, I don't know, 5 or 6 videos have been all dance related, which is my passion, of course. And now, unfortunately, I come back to health issues. Um, so, where do I begin? For those of you that have not followed my blogs from the beginning, I suffered from bulimia and anorexia, just a multitude of eating disorder behaviors for 7 to 9 years, really. It's very blurry. Was in and out of treatment. I blogged about that, my experiences while I was in treatment, when I transitioned home, what all of that was like, my ups and downs, my struggles, my achievements, and throughout it, I think I definitely gave fair warning to people on the dangers of this disease and toying with it, and how I would never wish it upon anyone. So feel free to check out those older blogs from the past few years, as well as my dance ones when I was very strong and healthy. Basically, to sum up what's going on, I now am suffering from gastroparesis, or it's also called delayed gastric emptying. And basically, the vagus nerve in my stomach, we all have it, it controls digestion and the processing of food and all that good stuff. It's damaged or broken, and to some various degree. And my stomach is paralyzed to a degree, so it does not digest food or work the way it's supposed to work properly. And when I eat, it basically just, I eat and it feels like, it's up to here, like it's just building on top of each other, and over time it creates symptoms such as loss of appetite, early fullness, what else? Nausea, it gets extreme, pain, both dull and sharp and shooting pain, and issues with your bowels, and vomiting, not intentional, just food, your stomach just can't tolerate it. It's really miserable. And for me, my journey with gastroparesis actually started sometime last year, and I was having a variety of these symptoms, not nearly as severe as now. And I visited 2 gastroenterologist specialists, and the first one diagnosed me with IBS, which I think is what they diagnose everyone with when they don't want to search any further. It's like the easy diagnosis, but I knew something else was wrong, and I moved on to another specialist, and she took my history and said, I believe it to be gastroparesis, but I'm not going to run any of the proper tests because there's not really a whole lot I can do for you, if that's what it is. And that was really hard to hear, because that left me with no answers and no solutions. So with the aid of my nutritionist, who I've been seeing for 7 years, over the past year I've been working on dietary changes, and more natural supplement type things to kind of help my stomach feel better and work. And I was able to manage it until, and this was all while I was doing really well in recovery, because I've been in recovery since 2009 for my eating disorder. So this past spring, around May or June, my treatment team really started noticing my eating habits changing, and I started noticing, the early fullness, the loss of appetite, the early symptoms, and I just attributed it to stress and things related to that. I was firmly set that it was not my eating disorder. The thought processes were not there. It was just different. It was not an eating disorder with the reins at that point. And it took a long time to convince my team of that this was something else, that my eating disorder was not primary. I didn't want it to come back, but I was still fighting hard, and I wanted recovery, and I was happy. Over the course of the summer, I kept declining in my health, and I was pushing myself to get through everything. I'm back in college as well, not living there, but I'm back in school, as well as I landed a new hairdressing job, and I'm teaching dance. So I had spread myself real thin, and as I grew thicker, as I had grown sicker, it became more and more difficult to push myself to get to everything. By the time the fall came, like September, and then especially into October, I was cutting corners however I could to just get through things, and the perfectionist in me was like, I have to finish this, I have to do this. I have a 4.0 grade point average. I'm in the honor society. Like, I just needed to. We were working on our Nutcracker production at the dance studio, which is in the next couple weeks, and I just couldn't stop and take care of myself. But finally, I went to another GI specialist about a month ago, and they ran the tests, and I was officially diagnosed with gastroparesis, and it's bad, and especially because I had let it get to that point without any treatment or intervention. And over the course of that time, I don't like to use numbers, so I won't, but I dropped a very significant amount of weight, and I was very malnourished because I couldn't keep things down, solid foods, and my body just wouldn't tolerate even like Boosts or Ensures. It was tolerating that less and less and less. So it was not consuming nearly enough, especially for what I was doing. So it got to the point where I was in the emergency room for various symptoms of this. Like 4 times, 5 times within a month and a half time period, and no one would admit me. And finally my GI doctor got me admitted on November 14th in Boston at an excellent hospital, the one she works out of, and I was there for over a week. It was really rough going. The first 3 days they wanted to see what I could do food-wise, and they just kept bringing me clear trays, like fluids and clear foods, light foods, and I couldn't do much of anything at all. And I was on so many fluids, like IV fluids, because I was so depleted, and my blood pressure had plummeted, my heart rate had plummeted. It was really scary. And finally, on the morning of day 4, they dropped this, and this is an NJ tube, which is different than an NG tube. An NG tube drops into your stomach, and then the nutrients go through it. An NJ tube is dropped into your stomach, and then they send you down to radiology, and as they watch x-ray. It's like an ongoing x-ray. They feed the tube down further so it drops below your stomach, because if your stomach can't tolerate things going into it, then you're going to be in pain with the tube as well if liquid nutrients are going into it. So they drop it below your stomach so it bypasses your stomach completely. It's much more of a procedure than an an NG. So there was a lot of just very difficult parts to my stay at the hospital, very frustrating. They tried to put me on erythromycin, which is an antibiotic, very potent, but it is supposed to also aid in stomach motility, which is what I need. And it made me violently sick, and it set me back like 3 days. So they took me off of that. And over the course of this, they were giving me plenty of anti-nausea meds too, which were helping to various degrees. The thing is with this illness is it's very individualized, and there's only so many not so invasive treatments and medications. So the most popular one is Reglan, which is a motility drug, and unfortunately one of the common side effects and dangerous side effects is tardive dyskinesia, and which is when your body like jerks and spasms and your hands shake, and I got that already. I've experienced that when I was on Seroquel a while back, which means like your body, it's like an allergic reaction and it's dangerous. So they didn't want to put me on Reglan with the possibility of that happening. Unfortunately, really the only other good drug for this is domperidone, and it's not yet FDA approved in the United States. So in order to get it, your doctor has to go through loopholes, and it's this big process, and they get it from Canada, and it's really hard to get your insurance to pay for it. It's just it's a mess to get it, and they couldn't do it while I was inpatient anyway. So I finally agreed to try the Reglan temporarily. So I came home this past Tuesday evening, and I had been on the Reglan for a day and a half, and I've continued on it. And I've tried to use it sparingly because it really, I fear the side effects, the possible side effects. But it's helping. I'm able to tolerate small amounts of solid foods, like grazing throughout the day. Not super solid, like I'm trying, like yesterday was Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving by the way, that I'm taking in like mashed potatoes, squash, like mashed up carrots, basically the equivalent to like baby food. But basically, I'm on a weight restoration program right now, which is really scary because that eating disorder voice is still, always there to a point, like a little bit, and that's difficult. But at the same time, I need my energy. I've lost my stamina, I've lost my energy, I've lost my muscle. The dancer in me, the physical part, is lacking, and it saddens me. And I'll take weight gain so I can have my dancing back, along with my life. Got this tube out of my nose, and so this is my intro to gastroparesis, or I'm going to call it GP. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. It's a difficult and oftentimes debilitating disease to live with, but it can also be managed in a lot of circumstances, and I'm taking it one day at a time. And yesterday being Thanksgiving, I really counted my blessings, literally, and was I'm just hoping for the best. So, just taking it slow. So just wanted to update everyone, and I'm going to do a follow-up blog with this on people that are also living with GP and are scared and everything. Maybe answer some questions and kind of show you the ropes on how to deal with tube feeds and things like that. So thanks for watching, everyone. Peace and happy holidays. Thank you.